I'd like to thank you for inviting me on the show. It's such an honour to be here, and I'd just like to say that when I'm not playing Xbox with my mate Thor, I really like to listen to my favourite podcast, Pop Culture Pasta.
Pop Culture Pasta.
So Cody, I came straight from a Friendsgiving.
As one does this time of year.
I'm feeling very full. I don't know that eating a lot is conducive to good podcasting.
We'll find out. You will be the guinea pig.
This is going to be the worst pod ever.
I'm going to have to carry my weight and then some.
I will report that mac and cheese was a side at our Friendsgiving.
Thank God.
If you listen to Cody and me across all our platforms,
so many of the platforms,
you know that we are fighting to make mac and cheese a staple of Thanksgivings.
The good fight, if you will.
And probably Christmas dinners too.
There really isn't that many meals that mac and cheese should not be offered, at least.
I agree. And not the newfangled mac and cheese that like barbecue joints try to pass off, where it's mac and cheese, but it's like covered with some sort of meat and barbecue sauce. I want none of that nonsense.
Not during the holidays.
No, it's not right. Anyways, I'm stuffed. I ate too much cheese ball.
Oh.
Yeah, you ever had a cheese ball where I guess the fancy youngins would call it charcuterie. But crackers, and then there's like this molded cheese ball with layers of cheese.
Yeah, I mean, that's been around for a hot sec.
Oh, yeah, it's old-fashioned.
Yeah.
But yet still high society.
Pinky out.
Yeah, I ate too much with the pinky out. I probably ate half that cheese ball because we were waiting for the food, and I didn't. So look, this is the deal. Friendsgiving, Thanksgiving, whatever you want to call it, I don't eat that day to save up.
Oh. Yeah, you got to get like a protein bar in.
And then I sat right in front of where the charcuterie, the cheese ball was, and I just ate too much cheese ball. It was a rookie mistake. This is the Pop Culture Pastor podcast.
Usually not super heavy on the food, but
we talk more about it on the radio for sure.
We mix it in a dash of food,
but pop culture includes food.
Oh yeah.
And this is like my favorite. Like, listen, after Christmas, Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday. And it's simply just because about the food, not because I'm grateful. I mean, I am grateful. That's not the highlight. It's the food, man. I'm grateful for the food.
Okay. That's great.
It's really, I'm kind of ashamed of it, actually, when I think about it, because it's really an ugly American holiday. We gorge ourselves on too much food.
I think it happens elsewhere, although it's just not celebrating the pilgrims meeting indigenous people and surviving a winter.
Yeah. Yeah. What? Wait, what do you mean?
I think that other places celebrate.
Oh, I thought you were telling me that story wasn't true.
No,
it is true. There was just other interactions that didn't go so well.
Yeah, no, I wasn't going to bring up the good, the bad, and the ugly of Thanksgiving, but
let's talk about the beanie you're wearing. What's going on with that? You're looking kind of hipster.
It's kind of chilly outside. I didn't dress for the weather, and this beanie was made in Haiti, and like I purchased it at a Christian concert, and like all the proceeds went to the people that made the beanie.
Or so they said.
I am choosing to believe. I think it was 1,000 Foot Crutch that had the booth.
Oh, okay. All right.
TFK, as the kids say.
You sent me a listing, a house listing, sometime this week.
I really think this is the new Pop Culture Pastor headquarters.
Yeah. The house from the Goonies is for sale in Astoria, Oregon for $1.6 million plus. 3 bedrooms, 2 bath, 2,300 square feet. And I mean, it is literally the house that Mikey lives in, Mikey and Brand. It's got that cool deck, patio. I'm all about this. I think we should move.
So if there are any patrons, underwriters that would love to see this podcast go out west.
Is this what they do Patreons for?
I think so.
Could our fans buy us a house in Astoria, Oregon? Like, look, they've got it made up. Like, there's even a little statue on the coffee table in the living room that they have to glue, back together. This is amazing. I just can't believe it. It looks exactly the way it looked in the movie, and that's probably intentional.
We would have to become a video podcast at that point.
Yeah. It's amazing. And I really wanted to move when I was a kid. I wanted to live in Astoria, Oregon and be a Goonie because I had no friends. And the thought of lifelong friends who had adventures together was just super appealing to me. That's why it was my favorite movie when I was a kid.
Well, be thankful you didn't go out there.
Why not?
Because one of the friends would have gone to Middle Earth to get rid of a ring. The other friend would have been wiping out half of the known existence.
And the other friend, took a wrong turn in Hollywood.
Yeah.
With another Corey.
And then one went into hiding and finally decided, I'll come back.
Yeah. I don't know. The continuation of the story is always never good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to buy the Goonies house. So just to keep that in mind, Pop Culture Pastor listeners.
I don't know if this is a tax write-off, but check with your certified public accountants.
We're probably going to have to get a loan on this one. Get a loan. We'll go in it together. How's your credit?
It's okay. I just really need Joe Biden's student loan forgiveness to go through.
Of the $1.6 million, we can put down a down payment where we only have to get a mortgage for $1.59 million.
Oh, okay.
I think between us, we could put up 1,000, right?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Yeah, that's make those payments real low. Do we have enough collateral? That's the interesting part. Probably not, huh? I don't think. Yeah, I think if we together owned enough stuff that added up to $1.5 million, well, we wouldn't be doing this nonsense.
Exactly.
But instead, here we are recording a podcast just for you, Dave and Cody.
Thanksgiving week.
It is. It's Thanksgiving. Do you have any big plans for Thanksgiving?
I got 2 Thanksgivings. The day of and the next day.
Oh, that's the sweet life right there.
It is.
Holy cow, that's the good stuff. I'm going Friendsgiving to our Thanksgiving tomorrow. Of course, family, in-laws, my in-laws. And we're going to go there and there's good food awaiting.
That's all that matters. Food and family.
I'm pretty full now. So if I wake up, just grab the stun gun over there and give me a good stunner and wake me up. Because I'm a little rough right now. Okay. This is Pop Culture Pastor. Welcome to our podcast. We got a lot to talk about this week. We're going to talk about the pop culture this year that we're thankful for.
Yes.
Or this just pop culture we're thankful for in general this time. And but first we're going to go out to the lobby. You want to go out to the lobby?
It's been a hot second.
It has. Meet us out in the lobby and we'll answer some of your questions. We'll be right back.
Welcome to the lobby.
All right, welcome back. We are out in the lobby, and what we do out in the lobby is, first of all, we get snacks.
As one does.
I don't know if I'm into the snacks though today because I'm full from the Friendsgiving, but definitely got a Mountain Dew in hand. Got to have the caffeine. We're late night recording here.
Doing
the. Well, no, we can't say that. They don't pay us.
That was D-O and D-O-O. Unless they want to sponsor.
All right, you've got questions. We need to answer them.
Yeah.
David Allen from Florida. He says, in honor of JDF, which Jason, what's his name?
Oh my goodness.
Jason David Frank. Is that his name?
Yes.
He, of course, died tragically this past week. He says which Ranger that he portrayed was best and why. And I'm sorry to say, Dave, that
it's Green. I know that he portrayed the White Ranger as well, and maybe even the Red. I feel like he was in several iterations. Green Ranger, because he was phenomenal.
Okay.
And
I'm glad you have an answer for that, because I got nothing.
Power Rangers out of your time frame.
Yeah, so I'm well into my young adult years by the time Mighty Morphin Power Rangers are a thing, and thus they're not a part of my growing up. They're not a part of my formative years. And then I was out, pop culture's not as big in my life when I'm young and cool. Think I'm cool.
Too cool for Power Rangers.
And trying to pick up chicks unsuccessfully.
All the ladies dig the Power Rangers.
So yeah, that never hit. I wasn't exposed to it. It just never hits me.
So as a kid, I'm too young to really be like, oh, this actor is really cool. You know?
Okay.
So, but I remember the original, and it's Green Ranger.
I do have some Mighty Morphin Power Ranger Funko NFTs. I
just have the regular.
You have regular Funkos.
Power Ranger Funko.
I knew that. I knew you had some of those.
Yeah.
He goes on to say, I would love to be part of a Mighty Morphin Pop Culture Pastor podcasts.
Okay, so we might have to do a Be Kind Rewind.
Well, I mean, David, yeah, we'd love to have you on, but you'd have to carry it. Because I don't know that we have a lot to add. I mean, Cody clearly knows a little bit more than I do. I know nothing about Power Rangers. My knowledge of Power Rangers was when I first saw it, I thought, oh, is this a Voltron ripoff?
Kinda.
It's derivative. It's derivative. Everything's derivative.
Yes. Now, I had the cool toys that would morph into, all the separate pieces would then combine, and then you'd be the collective unit.
That's literally Voltron.
Well, they did in Power Rangers as well, and also Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad.
What
starring a Matthew Lawrence, not to be confused with his brother Joey.
Side note, Joey Lawrence making a comeback, appearing in a Christian movie with Michael W. Smith, co-starring with Michael W. Smith, contemporary worship singer,
Dubs,
and friend of George W. Bush, Michael W. Smith. No relation to George W. Bush.
I don't know if if we can call that a comeback.
Yeah, it's weird. That's weird, right? Will he go, whoa, in the movie? Because that's his catchphrase when he was on Blossom. For those of you who don't know who Joey Lawrence is, this is more my time. He was on a sitcom called Blossom with Mayim Bialik, when they were teenagers. I think they were teenagers at the time. And Joey Lawrence was like a heartthrob. He had this beautiful head of flowing hair. And now he's bald. He went bald super early. And I don't know if that was what killed his career or the fact that he was just a teenage heartthrob who couldn't really act.
He had a hit show, I want to say it was on Disney Channel, called Brotherly Love.
Did he?
Where his other two brothers were on it as well, including Matthew, probably the most talented of the Lawrences.
That's a tough one. I don't know that we should make hardcore straight line decisions like that.
He was on Boy Meets World as well. So,
okay. Well, so Joey Lawrence, if you'd have asked anyone when I was a teenager, when Blossom was on, who was going to be the biggest star from that show, you would have said Joey Lawrence without a doubt. Now Mayim Bialik is hosting Jeopardy, and where's Joey Lawrence? He's in Christian movies. That's where.
With Michael W. Smith, who
Michael W. Smith.
I wasn't sure was doing anything anymore.
He's he got nudged out of the worship game, and now he's taken to the movies.
Kick rocks, Kirk Cameron.
He's probably going to make Joey Lawrence look like, George C. Scott. Like Robert Redford. Because Michael W. Smith can't be a great actor, right?
He probably is.
So many, they're like, look, this is the problem with the Christian movies is they put these people in the Christian movies that are like Christian celebrities. Like Kirk Cameron is an aberration because he was a real actor before he was a Christian
He was.
celebrity. And so like, even then he's not the greatest actor.
He acted with DiCaprio.
Who was great.
Yes.
Not Kirk. Like, look, the talent really went to his sister, right? Are we in agreement there? Oh, we're not because are we going to say we're not because everyone's mad at her now because of the JoJo Siwa thing?
We can't take a stand on this one.
It's too Twitter will cancel us. We can't talk. We can't take a side. All right. I don't even remember what the question was now.
So if we were to do a Power Rangers podcast,
Oh yeah. Power
that
Rangers.
we would have to do a Be Kind rewind where Dave actually watched it for the first time.
Yeah.
And then like we would then have
In all seriousness,
guest on.
Yeah, in all seriousness, so many of these stories we hear these now. Like we're even during the pandemic and just after, like now, we've even heard pastors taking their own lives.
Yes.
Like so, this is not something that just because we're in a religion or whatever doesn't touch the people in it. And if you're thinking those thoughts, reach out to someone.
Yes, and there is the new national hotline, which I believe is 988.
Yeah, it's a three-digit number.
Let me double check that.
Yeah, it just like, look, I've been there at a point in my life where I had thoughts like that, and I was isolated, which is not good. And I believe it was only by the grace of God that I kind of came out of that because I was alone. So don't be alone. That's what I'm saying. Reach out to somebody.
Yes, and as someone that works in mental health, I would say if you do feel alone or unwanted or unvalued, you are valuable. I mean, literally, you are created in God's own image. And again, that national hotline number is 988.
There you go. Kyle Kessinger, who lives, I don't know, somewhere in Northeast Kansas. Maybe McLouth or Osawatomie. I don't know. No, not Osawatomie. Oskaloosa, maybe. I don't know where.
Now you're making
I don't know
up
where he'd be living.
places.
He says, "What's the one thing you own that if you were to lose it or it gets stolen, you'd be completely lost without it? And it can't be your family or cell phone."
Oh, my cell phone, I could lose that and not weep one iota.
Gosh, I honestly don't know.
So,
My car?
dude, where's my car?
Where's my car, dude?
So I think the thing, if I lost it, and I'm going to include pets as family, would be honestly like if somehow the breaker went out in my house, like someone just stole it. So then I wouldn't have access to TV.
Electricity?
Primarily TV.
If I misplaced my electricity.
Yes. That would be it. But like something I would be devastated. I could move on from, but I'd be devastated if it got misplaced or stolen. Would be my Nintendo 64. Like I don't play it ever or hardly ever.
Yeah.
But I know where it's at, and I know like I can always go there. And if I'm wanting some nostalgia, break that out.
Yeah. First of all, Kyle kind of cheats because
What?
he says mine would be my iPod.
Oh, back in the day, for sure.
Back in the day, he's saying it now. I got about 5,000 songs on it and tons of playlists for all the occasions. And I want to be like, yeah, Kyle, you can put that on your phone now, bro. And isn't that just like saying it's your phone? That's not fair.
Because like right now, I have Apple Music on my phone. And so like
Right.
I'm downloading songs all the time.
Well, I had an iPod with all my CDs transferred onto it, and it transferred over to my iPhone. I have it on my iPhone. So I don't know, Kyle. That seems like a cheat. Anyways, my answer would be, okay, this is going to get sappy.
Uh-oh.
So my mom, like when I was a baby and a kid, she kept a scrapbook. And she just saved everything, right? So she even saved like the little Valentine's cards you'd get at elementary school.
Yeah.
On Valentine's Day, she saved everything, like glued it and taped it into this scrapbook that quickly like outgrew the scrapbook. And pretty soon it just turned into this big box. I have this big, the boxes that Boy Scouts get when they go camping? The big wooden boxes. No, they used to get boxes that they would put their stuff in when they went camping. And so I have a scrapbook box basically, which basically holds my life in it. All like my old pictures. Cause like I come from a time. So when you're Gen X or older millennial, you come from a time where you've lived in both worlds. Mm-hmm. And it's so hard. I was just talking to someone else tonight about how it's kind of a bummer because I was trying to explain to them of like I met these celebrities, but I don't have any sort of visual. Like nowadays, you meet a celebrity, you take a picture with them. There's visual proof.
A selfie or an Ussie.
I have a Ussie with Shepard Smith, Shep, formerly of Fox News, looking all orange in his fake tan. Of me and Shep Smith, but I had all these other stories that I don't really have proof of, or I played basketball a lot and was in really good shape and dunked, and I don't have any proof of that, like when I tell these stories. And so when I look back, like my life, literally the record of my life, my memories are in this box.
At least your childhood.
Yeah.
Into
childhood, young adult years.
Yeah.
And the thing is, Cody, is I hardly ever look at it. I mean, I bet I take a look at it once every couple of years when I happen across it in the attic or whatever. But if something happened to it, oh man, that would hurt me. Like that would hurt me. There's pictures of like my grandparents who are gone. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like we just I don't have digital copies of that.
So my parents did something similar, but they didn't make into a fancy scrapbook. So it was just like, oh, any memorable thing, it just goes in this box. And then my mom one day, like just a couple of years ago, was like, I'm going to throw this away unless you want it. And I'm like, well, there could be something in it. And she's like, bunch of trash, take it. And I'm like, how dare you?
Right?
Who do you think you are? I am.
My mom did the same thing because like it was at their house for a while after I moved out. And she basically said, you have to take this because you got to, it'll get thrown out.
Yep.
And I think I would felt the same. I'm like, how dare you? Now it's just going to sit in my attic.
But I mean, occasionally I do find myself being like Chevy Chase in Christmas Vacation.
Yes.
But without a cool projector because we weren't rich like that.
You know what's funny is when that movie first came out, that scene didn't get me at all. Mm-hmm. Now when I watch that movie and he's in the attic watching the old home movies of their Christmases past, I tear up. Because there's something about that. There is something as you get older when you think about the old past Christmases. I'm going to get emotional if I keep talking about it now.
Okay, we got to move on.
Scott Patrick Dillon from Springfield and Geek of the Round Table. What are your expectations for the upcoming Ant-Man movie? I believe he's talking about Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania.
Let's just rename this Kang Mania.
Yeah, Kang!
Because that's really what I'm watching for. I know Paul Rudd will be funny, and he won't have aged at all, and it'll be great. But I'm all about Kang, because we have been talking nonstop about Kang for years.
Yeah, if there's one fault, like we talked about Phase 4 last week, but if there was one fault with Phase 4, it's just that there was too much time in between the end of Loki and when they seriously started to move in this direction. Like I wanted some more immediate things happening with Jonathan Majors. I need more Jonathan Majors in my life.
Yeah. Which he has a movie coming out this weekend.
Is it the Air Force one or the Navy one or whatever, where he's a pilot?
Yeah.
That looks good.
It does.
That looks Devotion. And he's also in Creed 3.
Kang versus Killmonger, and I'm rooting for Kang.
Okay. Scott, my expectations for the Ant-Man movie are through the roof, but they always are for the MCU. I think this is the problem with the MCU has a problem now, which is they've built up this expectation. Looking back at the Infinity Saga that led up to Infinity War and Endgame, that's really a miracle of movie making. Those are heights and now everyone expects them to do that again. Do you know how unfair that probably is?
You did it once, you could do it again.
Oh man, I hope so. I hope you're right.
Yeah, I mean, literally, Michael Jordan, Tom Brady, LeBron James, they all did it multiple times. Get on their level, Marvel.
I don't know about LeBron, but the other two, those 2 out of 3 are not exactly happy dudes.
LeBron seems happy.
He seems okay. Tom Brady and Michael Jordan seem pretty miserable.
That is the price you pay.
Price you pay for greatness. Okay. All right. I see where you're coming from. Yeah, my expectations are through the roof. I think this is for me, this is the corner that we're going to turn into the real multiverse saga. Although I thought that about Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness.
So, Ant-Man movies don't really register on my Richter scale of high expectations.
Yeah, see, this one's going to be different though. That's what they're saying. I'm intrigued by this one. Looks a little bit heavier.
I've heard, this one is supposed to be different 1,000 times. And this is all building up to Mephisto, and this is all building up to Kang, and then it never is.
There's a part of me that loves that you're our resident MCU skeptic. And then there's a part of me that wants me to punch you in the stomach.
I am the realist of the group.
Yeah.
I'm an honesty broker.
It disappoints me that sometimes now you're right about the MCU.
It happens.
Not like when you're saying Iron Man's not a great movie.
It really wasn't.
It really kind of was, but you're judging it by the context of 20 movies later.
I'm judging it by the context of its time period.
No
equivalent.
Well, it's great
of The Dark Knight.
It's easily applicable to it's easily comparable to The Dark Knight. The Dark Knight's better.
Leaps and bounds.
No, not leaps and bounds.
Even the Spider-Man movies were...
It's a completely different movie, first of all.
Spider-Man movies were better than Iron Man.
No, I disagree.
The Tobey Maguire.
It's already been proven that you just don't like origin flicks.
I do like origin flicks.
Name one that's not Batman Begins.
Batman Begins.
No, I said name one that's not Batman Begins.
I did love the Captain America.
First Avenger?
First Avenger's great.
How did you like Captain America First Avenger but not Iron Man?
Because First Avenger actually told a great story.
You know how many people disagree with you on that?
Well, they can be wrong, and that's fine.
Okay. All right.
I'm here to give them high fives and hugs.
Okay.
And
a small consolation prize.
Rebuttals.
He's not giving you his love, but he'll give you a hug. Danica Giesman in Wichita, she says this. Oh, she's got this is a scenario question.
Oh,
all right.
This is too bold.
You find yourself completely alone this evening and able to watch anything you want on your TV. You have ample time for anything. What do you pick? Now, Danica, in this scenario, am I on Dayquil or something? Something to help me stay awake?
Do I have a never-ending supply of Mountain Dew?
Yeah. Because that's the problem is I usually find myself in that situation. My wife goes to bed early and then my kids go to bed and I try to watch things and I just can't make it.
So my answer today will be different than my answer from years past and probably of the near future.
Time
adjusts everything. And right now, in my very minimal spare time, I am reading Sandman book 1.
Okay. Nice.
And so I would rewatch the Sandman Netflix series.
Oh, okay. There you go. I need to watch that.
Like, as I was reading through book one and seeing like, oh, they really didn't change that much. They kept true to the story or the heart of it, which the first episode really long to get through because Sandman's trapped. Spoiler alerts. But like the scenes in the TV series that like caused me to choke up and actually tear up, that and the graphic novel carries through as well. And so it brings about a lot of emotions.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool themes going on, some biblical themes. Yeah, I'm here for it.
Very nice. I need to watch that. I do need to watch that. There's so many things I need to watch. If I went home right now and I could guarantee that I was going to be awake for the length of a movie, what I would go home and turn on right now, if I knew I wasn't going to be disturbed, is White Christmas. White Christmas just takes me back. It triggers so many like happy memories for me. It was just a movie that my mom's family, they all loved and adored. It was a movie that was just kind of on a lot during Christmas, back before the days of, DVD players and VCRs and such. It was just on TV a lot. And anytime we saw it on, we just stopped on it during the Christmas season. And even the movie itself it's a Bing Crosby movie. And it's like, you knew that they were just as broken as us, the people back then, but they just hit it so much better. It made you really think that that's what life was like.
Because that's what life is like.
Like
in the movies.
Like every time they got worried, they were just like, if my bankroll's getting low, and you just start singing a song. I count my blessings instead of sheep. I fall asleep. I mean, seriously?
So basically, we need to make real life more like the movie Grease.
Yeah, sure.
That's what I'm taking from it.
No, more like White Christmas.
More like the TV show Glee.
I have this dream that I've always wanted to be. I want to take a train somewhere, like a long train trip. And I think it's probably because of the movie White Christmas, because there's a sequence where they take a train ride to Vermont, America's winter playground.
Is that what we call Vermont?
Well, that's what they call it in the movie. They go to Pine Tree. Pine Tree, coming in the Pine Tree.
I know that if you go to Canada, you're supposed to take some of Vermont's finest maple syrup with you.
Why?
And give it as a gift to your distinguished host.
That's the thing? That's a real thing? Why?
It's on The Office.
Oh, okay. I must have missed that episode. Anyways, yeah, that's the movie I'd watch. I love White Christmas. It literally turns me into Clark Griswold when he's watching home movies. It's that movie that triggers all the nostalgia for me and makes me feel like singing like Bing Crosby.
Good times.
Yeah. All right. We'll get some more. We'll get another social media post up there soon for more questions to ask us during the lobby segment. Now we're going to go get ready, go back into the main studio to talk about what we're here to talk about. And that is the pop culture we're thankful for. Come on back. Okay, we're back. We're in our main home studio getting ready to talk about it's Thanksgiving, Cody. We're feeling gratitude. We're feeling grateful, not just for being alive for another year, which we're super grateful for that.
Oh, yeah.
Super grateful for every day that God gives us and super grateful for the things we get to do. But in the sense of this podcast, we're just over a year now in our podcasting days about pop culture. So we figured, let's talk about what we're thankful for in pop culture right now. We talk about the things we loved growing up a lot. What are we thankful for right now? I'm going to cheat on one of these because I'm going to talk about something I've been thinking a lot lately that's older, entertainment, but I've been thinking about them lately.
And I'll probably cheat a little bit as well.
Yeah. So. Okay. So let's just, do you want to start the pop culture you're thankful for right now?
I guess I can go first.
Oh, I can go first if you want.
You go first.
Okay. I'll go first. I don't know why, but he's just been coming up a lot recently in the news. There's a documentary being made about this guy by Ryan Reynolds and his movie company. And I recently saw something else about him because it's Thanksgiving, and the best Thanksgiving movie ever made is Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, in my opinion. And so I've been thinking a lot about John Candy and just how much I miss John Candy. Oh, they're coming out with a 4K DVD edition of Planes, Trains, and Automobiles with something like
87 extra minutes.
Yeah. And so was it you that shared the clip with me?
Yeah.
Where he's like eating a hot dog and smoking at the same time. Hilarious. I was like, how did this get cut from the movie? And he's flicking crumbs off. Oh man. And I seriously, I want to tell you, Cody, I laughed and actually shed a tear because I was like, man, we don't have anyone like John Candy anymore.
Yeah. And so I'm going to tell you a guilty pleasure I just purchased yesterday.
Okay.
Relating to John Candy. Facebook knows me because they listen in on your conversations. But there was this t-shirt business that makes these graphic tees from movies and TV shows, and they had a Gus Polinski King of Polka shirt.
Oh my goodness.
And it will be at my house sometime before Christmas.
That is amazing. That is amazing. And you can't talk about that without talking about that. He ad-libbed all that.
He did.
That was not in a script. He just became Gus Polinski Polka King. Polka, polka, polka. Indiana polka.
Literally some of the best scenes of the whole movie. My favorite scene of the whole movie is when he talks about leaving his kid at the funeral home. And like it took therapy. But kids are resilient.
Kids are resilient. John Candy, I know he was Canadian, but can we call him a national treasure?
He was a continental treasure.
Oh man. I don't know why, but all of this stuff that's come out with him with the documentary and then seeing that clip you sent me the other day, I have not watched Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, but I plan on doing it tomorrow on Thanksgiving. We're recording this on Wednesday night, as it would turn out. But I'm so excited to watch Planes, Trains, and Automobiles as I do once a year around Thanksgiving. And he's so amazing in this movie because him and Steve Martin elevate this movie. This is a road comedy. I mean, how many road comedies have been made over the year? Tons. It's simple.
Millions.
And granted, John Hughes is the director and he's great. But if you put two other dudes in this movie, it's just a road comedy. But him and Steve Martin elevate it to a classic. And Candy's performance is so good in this movie because he's called to be obnoxious. His character is literally obnoxious. I can remember when I saw this as a kid, I remember thinking Steve Martin was right? So like the whole conceit of the movie is that John Candy's character is so obnoxious and annoying, and Steve Martin is just kind of keeps crossing paths with him, and it's like fate is trying to keep them together. And he's just trying to get home in time for Thanksgiving with his family. And you feel like Steve Martin when I remember watching this as a younger person. But now when I watch it and you see the little things, that there's little nuance in John Candy's performance where even though he's obnoxious, even though he's annoying, you're like, oh, I feel for this guy. And then when you find out his story at the end, oh man, I cry big. I big cry at the end of Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Every single time. A big cry, partly because I miss John Candy and partly because his performance is so stinking good in this. it's just impossible not to love.
I mean, have you seen Home Alone?
Yeah.
Have you seen Cool Runnings?
Oh,
Even Wagons East, the film that he died right before it was finished, like, he's phenomenal in it. The movie itself is not that great, but
The Great Outdoors.
oh, that's a classic.
There was even one like mid to early 80s called Summer Rental, which I loved, which he took his family on a vacation, similar to Great Outdoors, if they go to a beach. I mean, oh man, John Candy was just the best. I actually had a text conversation with our friend Sam.
Yes.
And apparently I talked about planes, trains, and automobiles recently. Is that right?
It sounds like something you would do.
It does. And he texted me and said, I find it interesting that you like planes, trains, and automobiles because I'm a pastor. He says, like, given the fact that one of the scenes he drops about 18 F-bombs. And I had to tell Sam, well, I wasn't always a Christian, Sam. But I still watch it once per year, even though I am now. I don't let my kids watch that scene. But I think that one scene earned that movie like I think it has an R rating because of that scene.
Eek.
Yeah, and literally, I believe that that's really the only objectionable scene.
Well, now you can add smoking while eating a hot dog.
Well, it's just a hilarious scene. Anyways, I'm just really thankful for the life and work of John Candy right now. Really thankful.
I'm glad you covered John, so then I didn't have to take up another spot.
Oh, okay.
Because, like, this time of year, like, John Candy movies do come up, I feel, quite more frequently, whether it is Planes, Trains, and Automobiles or Home Alone or even Uncle Buck.
Yeah. Also a classic.
Yeah. So, mine to start off with, and it's going to shock you. You better hold on to your seats.
I'm holding.
It is MCU Phase 4.
Oh, look at Cody shocking everyone with MCU Phase 4 love.
I am like the only one that really evidently enjoyed Phase 4.
Now, hold on. I thought about saying the MCU anyways, because we've talked about it all before. I think it's hard to satisfy everything in every category now.
I mean, even the movies that I wasn't like, oh my goodness, this was great. Like, they weren't bad. And the TV series, I enjoyed them.
Yeah, so did I. Yeah.
And it definitely... So I know a lot of people are upset because we had all these like universe building and like climatic movies before, especially Endgame, and that everyone's wanting the next Infinity Saga to happen immediately. You have to do a soft reboot, and I think they executed it well. I preferred them actually letting the directors have more influence in guiding over these movies, because although there are little snippets of things that will probably be relevant in the next phase, this is just you getting these characters, or you getting Korg telling the story of Thor post Guardians time or whatever. And so yeah, I'm here for it. I like them taking, I guess, if you want to say bold chances, even though it's a well-established property now that like no one's saying, oh, the MCU is collapsing and will be dead in a year.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think that's funny because I think I almost put the MCU as one of my three because it kind of stinks to have a show like this in some sense, because I am just super thankful they make entertainment like this.
Oh, yeah.
The comic book lover in me, who's a kid who just loved comic books, just thinks it's just an amazing time to be alive. Like that they actually make movies of this stuff. I dreamed of this. So even when we come on a pod and I say, man, I really was hoping that they'd have this, or I was disappointed in this direction, just know I'm still loving it. I still love the MCU and I still love DC movies. Really. I want them to be good.
That's because they are good.
Okay. Well, sure. We can talk about that some other time. But yeah, I'm with you. And I think the MCU is great. And I love the MCU. I'm excited about it. I even enjoyed parts of Thor: Love and Thunder. It's not like I didn't enjoy. It's not like it wasn't funny. That was the whole point of the movie, was to be funny.
It was so underappreciated. I am flying the Thor: Love and Thunder banner by myself.
And I thought about making the MCU one of my 3, and I'm glad you did. Because I think what happens is the MCU has become the biggest thing in Hollywood ever. And the money, I'm talking about money earned. It's not even close. The MCU has just destroyed the rest of Hollywood.
Until you get Avatar,
No.
whatever the long title is.
No, it has to make like $1 billion just to make its money back. Did you know that?
Yes, it has to be in the top 4 of grossing all-time movies.
Do you know how absurd that is?
That is bananas. And I'm like, have we seen James Cameron movies lately? Like, they're okay.
And James Cameron is one of these dudes who would talk trash on the MCU. I'm over that. Quentin Tarantino made headlines this week because he said some disparaging things about that. Him and Scorsese, all of y'all. Simu Liu came at him hard.
Yeah.
He said, hey, man, I like the golden age of Hollywood too, but it was awful white up in here. I was like, oh, Simu. Yeah, right?
It was.
I was like, hey, yeah, you can hate on the MCU all I want, but you can't hit them about being more diverse. They're making movies more diverse. And no matter how you feel about that, you may hate it. Like you may not have liked She-Hulk. She-Hulk was quirky. It was aimed at a particular audience.
It was aimed at me.
I didn't love every part of She-Hulk, but I'm glad they did it. I'm glad they tried it. Because they're aiming at audiences that aren't used to getting aimed at. And that's a good thing.
Yeah. Like the one property I did not watch
was Miss Marvel.
Miss Marvel.
And that was aimed at a particular subset, mostly teenagers. It appealed to young people.
And so
my kids loved it.
And I know several people that do. And I would not say a discouraging word about people connecting to stories. Now, my discouraging comments from the one episode I watched was, be nice to your parents. And not all tradition is evil and bad. We don't have to make every world religion and their religious backgrounds and beliefs to be pure evil.
Well, that's just look, Hollywood in general is going to be kind of anti-religion right now. It's just time and place. It's just time and place. That's the culture.
And so that would be my takeaway from that one episode. And I'm like, this one might not be for me. Captain Marvel, I enjoyed it, but it wasn't like, oh, I need to go watch this 15 times. So,
yep. Okay. That's surprising answer from Cody. MCU Phase 4.
Loose cannon.
That's right. I'm thankful for Funko.
Yeah.
I love Funkos. If you've listened to this podcast at any length, or the radio show at any length, or the radio pods where we give you some bonus pods, I love Funkos. I talk about them a lot. They're not a perfect company.
No.
They do some dumb things. I think sometimes they try a lot of things. They draw a lot of complaints from collectors, but I think it's because they try different things. So I think it's good in that way that they try a bunch of different things.
I do have beef with them right now, though.
Why do you have beef with Funko?
So they bought out Mondo.
Okay.
and I'm still waiting on a poster.
Oh, yeah. Well, Funko, okay.
So that probably isn't Funko's fault.
I wouldn't go that far. Funko are not known to be timely shippers.
You loose cannons.
Funko has a problem with meeting deadlines. That's a Funko thing. But like, here's just the from a plain standpoint. I dig that they create collectible items that are a reflection of pop culture, because it allows me to enjoy a hobby with my kids.
I did get the flocked Eagly and Peacemaker hugging.
There you go. I mean, how many generations can say that they could share a hobby? Usually you're not interested in what your parents are interested in. Cause like, when we were growing up, my dad wasn't into this, but maybe your dad was like into collecting stamps, which was just like, cause that's what old people did, man. It was like, oh, you want to see my stamp collection? Like, no, I want to read my comics,
So growing up, my dad wasn't like, he didn't have this, but when I got into it, he got into it as a way to connect. And that was sports cards like basketball and baseball, football. Yeah. So I have a never ending supply of cards from the 90s.
I will say that the male counterparts there have that, where some people, they got into sports memorabilia together, but I have never seen families that collect Funkos. I've never seen families that do a hobby together more than I've seen it in Funko collecting. My kids like Funkos, of course, because they make Funkos of the stuff they like.
Yeah.
So my daughter's into Harry Potter.
Harold Potter.
And my kids, there were a couple out of box Funkos I just ended up with. I gave them to my 4-year-old Iron Man. He loves it. He loves his Iron Man Funko. And every time I get a Funko in the mail, it's like, what Funko did you get, Dad? Yeah, it's nice. It's nice to have a hobby. My dad despised my comic book collecting hobby. I know he did. And my mom, I don't think got it either.
Oh.
And so it's just nice for me to be able to share this with them.
If only they had really supported and nurtured it. Because like there was that Raiders player that retired last week because he sold a rare Pokemon card.
Dude sold a Pokemon card and told the NFL twos, I'm out. Deuces.
Oh my goodness.
That's like backwards. You get into pro football to retire at a young age. This dude collected Pokemon cards, sold a rare Pokemon card for millions, and was like, I'm out.
So yes, collectibles, although oftentimes you won't cash in, you're creating memories.
Yeah. I dig that Funkos span a large swath of pop culture. I'm really into the NFT part of it now. So Funko got into NFTs a while back here, maybe about a year ago or just over a year. And you buy packs of NFTs and then they're rare, but you can get these NFTs that are redeemable for physical Funkos. And the value of those is through the roof. So if you can get a hold of one, they're great. Now, the shipping schedule is a little behind. People are getting a little annoyed by that. But I just got my Scooby-Doo Funkos in the mail. They came undamaged. It's like winning the lottery.
That would be like winning the lottery. I got a package in the mail yesterday, and it looked like someone had just done the hokey pokey all over it.
Who was it from? Amazon?
It was.
Yeah. Yeah. I got a package from Amazon this week as well. I got the No Way Home, Spider-Man No Way Home Statue of Liberty.
Oh,
Funko.
yeah.
And literally, they put it inside a box. No sorter, nothing. It was a Funko in a box, just rattling around. No cushion, no bubble wrap. These savages.
Loose cannons.
Yeah. So, yeah, what I'm saying is Amazon sucks.
/ the United States Postal Service might not be the best.
I mean, honestly, the box looked fine. The outer box.
Mine did not.
No.
Literally.
Looked like someone drop kicked it, huh?
There were ridges where it had been crushed. And thankfully, it wasn't anything important.
What was the Funko?
Oh, it wasn't a Funko.
Oh, I thought you said it was a Funko.
No, it was just a package. It was just a normal package. It was a shelf.
Oh.
Because my wife wanted to display these fancy rocks and crystals
Well,
instead of Funkos.
Since you didn't get a Funko, can we have a moment of silence for my Statue of Liberty Funko? The Funko made it fine. The box did not.
So that's now an out of the box one.
Yeah. It's kind of a bummer. I'm a box snob when it comes to Funkos. It's half the value.
It is like, as long as it's not like, holy cow, someone just scribbled all over this with the razor blade.
Yeah.
I'm good.
I mean, look, there was one bad area on the box. It's still fine. I could still sell it for, probably 3/4 value if I wanted to.
Millions of dollars.
No. What's next? What are you thankful for?
Okay, so here's my old school one, I guess.
Okay.
Although my next
Run DMC.
Yes. It's tricky.
It's tricky to rock a rob to rock. Anyways. Yeah.
So I'm going to go with graphic novels and books.
Oh, yeah.
Because like this summer, right before like my summer classes started and right after my summer classes ended, I binged a ton of books and a ton of graphic novels and some Stevie King stuff, which my wife's like super huge into Stephen King stuff. And I'm like,
It's rubbed off on you. Yeah.
And so I got to do that. And it's kind of interesting, especially with like the comic book stuff, especially with adult eyes, to go back through it and see like, oh, okay, so they took this part, but then completely disregarded this and then added this random thing in. And so then it's like, okay, like I see why Marvel or DC did what they did. Or holy cow, they missed a golden opportunity with this. Like, so with Sandman, because I'm still hung up on that. There's one opportunity they missed by having it on Netflix, but I'm glad it's separate from the DC properties from the past couple of years, just because it seems like the executives were Hot Mess Express. And that is like, there's Sandman's looking for his Ruby, and he goes to the Justice Society.
Oh, yeah.
And they don't have the rights to the Justice Society on Netflix, so you don't get like this dude going through like a Rolodex to see if he should contact Superman or not.
Yeah, that'd have been cool though. And who does he end up contacting in the graphic novel?
Martian Manhunter.
That's amazing.
Manhunter, yeah. So, yeah.
You were denied that Netflix, viewers.
But you do get some cool scenes, and you get some unique changes, but like it doesn't change the story. So, yeah, I'm happy for the intellectual properties that come from the written genres.
Yeah.
And make their way to the big screen.
Yeah.
It also helps connect.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
With other people. And so like my wife's more of a reader, but we'll watch the movies together, and then she'll be like, Cody, you really need to read this. And if I actually do read it, then we can have a deeper discussion about it.
Very good. Yeah, Neil Gaiman had some, had some control over the Netflix series. So it's pretty faithful.
Oh, yeah.
To his original source material. And why wouldn't you be faithful to Neil Gaiman? He's an incredible writer.
Phenomenal.
Yeah. I'm also reading some graphic novels right now. We picked them up at the Air Capital Comic Con. Shout out to them in Wichita.
Yes.
Recently, I picked up the first 3 volumes of graphic novels of John Byrne's Superman run. John Byrne, great inker, illustrator of comics back in this was from like the late 80s, I think. And man, it's like Superman. It's like modern Superman, but it has that old school feel. Mm-hmm. And it gets Superman right, man. He's like, he's literally like the Jesus figure of comics when you're doing Superman right, where he believes the best of everyone. He has this belief that everyone can be good if they've got it in him, you know?
Yeah.
And he's just, I love Superman when he's written like this. And John Byrne has this run, and I'm reading through these comics, and in this comic, like Lex Luthor's like the main villain in it, and Brainiac's in there. And it's just, man, it's really nostalgic. It really sends me back. John Byrne also did my favorite run in the Fantastic Four when She-Hulk was a member, not the Thing. So the Thing kind of goes off his own way to be like a pro wrestler.
As one does.
And She-Hulk was actually a member of the Fantastic Four in this very good John Byrne run. And so I'm reading those right now, and they're just awesome. They take me back to the time when I was really, really into comics. And it's really this kind of like old fashioned feeling of Superman, even though like they were trying to update him. So like Lois Lane has like that short bob haircut that was like big in the late 80s, early 90s.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So it's weird in that way, because usually Lois Lane has long hair.
Not when she is with Dean.
Dean. Oh, Dean Cain?
Yes.
I can't remember. Terry Hatcher, she did have short hair in that.
She did.
Well, you want to know why? I think that series is directly modeled off the John Byrne run.
Well,
in fact, I'm going to just say it. I'm going to name it and claim it.
Having not read that run, and also being a young kid during that series, my memories are going to say, go for it.
That was Terry Hatcher, long before she was a desperate housewife.
See, I had forgotten Terry Hatcher was Lois. I just remember Dean Cain because he was Ripley's Believe It or Not dude.
See, boys from the 80s, they don't forget about Terry Hatcher. We all had a crush on Terry Hatcher. Yeah, anyway.
Dean Cain did too.
Okay, my third thing that I'm thankful for is, there wasn't, when it comes to Christmas movies, after Christmas Vacation, there's a long time where they don't really make a lot of Christmas movies. There was a couple in there, maybe like The Family Stone. There was the Ben Affleck one that I wasn't a big fan of, but there's just not that many Christmas movies. And then Elf comes out, right?
Yeah.
And Elf becomes like a classic, but it's not like, it's not like the earlier times when it seems like Christmas classics were coming out all the time. And now, and I'll include last year with it, it seems like there's this renewed resurgence into making new original Christmas movies. And I'm really thankful for that.
Well, Dave, some valued listeners of the podcast will point out that you must not have the Hallmark Channel.
No,
because they've been making Christmas movies left and right.
I'm not counting the weird romantic Christmas Hallmark movies. I know that those are a craze, but none of those are going to stand the test of time. Nobody can even remember their favorite ones from last year. They make so many of them, and they're all the same.
Candace Cameron Bure is not happy.
With all due respect to Candace Cameron, who, no, I just, those don't count. I'm talking about Christmas favorites that span
Jingle All the Way.
And I mean, people loved Jingle All the Way, which is weird because it's not a great movie.
So I think people my age and younger really have a passion for the Santa Claus movies.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That was one. That was one of the odd ones.
Like, I'm one of the weird ones that I like Elf, but I am not super infatuated with Elf. But a lot of people my age are.
Blasphemy.
But I think it's also because I do have a bit of a Will Ferrell bias.
Yeah.
That once I've seen Will Ferrell in one thing, I have seen Will Ferrell in most things. So
I am just really thankful. So last year they came out. There were Christmas movies last year that were new and original. 8-Bit Christmas. Did you watch that one?
Not yet.
Oh man, you got to watch it. Neil Patrick Harris, the NPH. He's in it. It's great. It's super nostalgic, which I think the best Christmas movies are nostalgic. I would put A Christmas Story. I think that's why A Christmas Story hits people in such a way, because it comes out in the 80s, but it takes place in like the 50s.
Yeah.
And it's just, it hit people in the nostalgia place where it reminded them of their old Christmases. And I think the best Christmases movies are like that. And 8-Bit Christmas was like that because it takes place in the 80s, or most of it. It's like a flashback. He's telling a story. And so I was really thankful last year when it appeared. There was a lot. And this year we're just getting a bevy of them. There's Spirited with Ryan Reynolds and Will Ferrell.
Yes.
There's The Christmas Story Christmas, a real sequel. Like, we don't talk about the other sequel that was all different people. This one has the real Ralphie, the real characters from the old movie, and Ralphie comes back to his house after his pops passes away. But I haven't watched that one yet, but I'm looking forward to it. We're also getting, there's another new one, right? There was Guardians of the Galaxy. Christmas special. Yeah.
With Kevin Bacon.
Yeah. So there's just a whole bunch of new Christmas movies out there. I'm super thankful for it. Are you looking forward to watching any of these?
Oh, yeah. Like, Guardians is definitely a must watch. I will watch the Ryan Reynolds, Will Ferrell one just because, like, while they were filming it, they made a TikTok that went viral with them singing and harmonizing, and that was kind of cool. So yeah, I mean, I'll watch it.
Okay. I'm just going to say, so here's what we're going to do. I must admit, I brought this up for a purpose. The next few weeks of the pod, as we're preparing for Christmas, we're going to have, like, the first half of will be the normal show where we'll talk about some pop culture news, but then we are going to we're going to have mini reviews of a different new Christmas movie each week. And we're going to allow you to vote on them. We're
Home Alone.
No. Although there was a new Home Alone movie that came out last year. I didn't watch that one. Right? On Disney Plus. Was it any good?
No one watched that.
I don't know. I think some people swear on it.
How dare they? Have you not seen Home Alone 1 and 2?
Yeah, I know.
There's the Wet Bandits, and then there's the Sticky Bandits.
I think we have to include the new Home Alone movie because I didn't watch it. You didn't watch it. So maybe someone will vote for it. What we're going to do is we're going to put polls on the Pop Culture Pastor community page, which if you're not in that group, join the group.
Yes.
And then we're going to, because we can't put polls on the regular page. They won't let us. So we're going to put polls on the community page and allow you to vote on which new Christmas movie we are going to review the next pod.
Jingle all the way.
Cody's not so sure about this. I will tell you, I've already watched Spirited with Ryan Reynolds and Will Ferrell, and I kind of loved it. It was actually good. I was not expecting to be wowed by it, but it's playing with some real good themes because it's based on A Christmas Carol. So the themes in it are really, like, we could dig into this biblically. And Ryan Reynolds and Will Ferrell. I mean, I know you're not totally a Will Ferrell guy, but Ryan Reynolds is amazing in this movie. He's always amazing.
Two guys, a girl, and a pizza place.
Yeah. So I'm really thankful that we're making a lot of new Christmas content. And who knows, maybe one of them will be the next classic. That'll be an ongoing question in our mini reviews from now until Christmas. Is this the next Christmas classic? We'll be able to answer that question.
I am going to give a preliminary answer of probably not.
You're so cynical.
I am when it comes to Christmas movies.
Hey,
some are great and then some are trash.
Listen, you're right though, because it takes lightning in a bottle to make a Christmas classic.
Oh yeah.
And like, so the Christmas Story sequel, I believe, won't become one just because it's a sequel. It's beholden to the original. Mm-hmm. And so it might be entertaining, it might be fun, but it won't become a Christmas classic.
And there's like a weird gap.
Yeah. So I have seen the trailer for it, and while I'm intrigued, Ralphie kind of freaks me out old. Old Ralphie freaks me out. It's the same dude.
I don't know why we feel freaked out about him being old.
I don't know. He talks and his voice is real deep, and I'm just like, that's not Ralphie. But it is Ralphie.
It quite literally is Ralphie.
Yeah. Anyhow, I'm thankful for new Christmas movies to watch.
Okay.
What's your last thing?
My last thing. So all mine have the theme of connectivity because this season it is about connecting with friends and family, loved ones,
And eating.
and eating. This one is my new best friend,
Okay.
James Gunn.
Your new best friend, James Gunn. And why is he your best friend? Why is he your new best friend, Cody?
So it's because he liked one of my responses
On Twitter?
on Twitter. And so that was amazing. But here's why I'm actually choosing him.
Y'all should see this. His face is all lit up right now. He's smiling like a kid in a candy shop.
There was squeaks and squeals when it happened and shrieking.
One time I got retweeted by the band Journey. And so, yeah, I get it.
Yes.
It's a big deal.
So, but the question that he had quote tweeted, and it was about what like artist our song do you know that is a cover, but you wouldn't know it's a cover because it's so popular. And he listed off a bunch of them.
Yeah.
And then I responded with Mad World.
Yeah.
Because like if you grew up post 1990, you did not know Tears for Fears sang that song.
Listen, I like Tears for Fears, and I forgot they made that song.
Because like there's a way better version out there.
The Gary Jules version is the definitive version of Mad World.
It is. And like when I'm watching Donnie Darko, there's like 2 or 3 Tears for Fears songs that Tears for Fears is singing, and I love it. And then they have Gary Jules' Mad World in it. And I'm like, there's a reason we did not go with the Tears for Fears version. But I digress. But so he liked it, and I was excited about that. And then I told you about it, and it connected us even deeper because I told you like early on in my being a youth pastor days, like every one of my youth rooms had a piano, and the kids would go up to it, and the one song that they would just start playing the intro to is Mad World. And they would, like, every one of them knew it, and I don't know how.
This is a universal thing because we talked about this.
Yes. And then you brought up that kids your age were doing it, but with Motley Crue.
Home Sweet Home.
Home Sweet Home. And I then brought up a series that you have not yet to watch. Peacemaker, John Cena walks up to a piano and starts playing Home Sweet Home on the piano. And who directed and executive produced that series? None other than James Gunn. And who is now saving and guiding DC with the help of Peter Safran? James Gunn. So James Gunn is connecting us all again.
He's connecting the generations. That is a weird thing about generations, though. Like when you were a kid, the kids that took piano lessons, there's that one song.
Yeah.
Depending on what was big in the pop culture. For me, like late 80s, early 90s teenager, it was Home Sweet Home by Motley Crue. The do 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 do. Like, you know, there was that whole piano intro. And then, yeah, for apparently millennial kids and, you know, maybe older Gen Zers.
Yeah.
It's Mad World by Gary Jules. Yeah. That's interesting. It's interesting. Also, The Office.
Yeah.
The Office theme song. I know a bunch of kids in my youth group that can play that.
That has like taken up like huge in popularity.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good. That's really good.
So-
James Gunn. Thankful for, like, we're all thankful for James Gunn, aren't we?
And with his most recent project that's going to drop this week, Guardians Christmas. I'm excited for it. And we still have one more James Gunn movie in the MCU.
Yep. The Christmas special's getting good buzz from people that have seen it.
And I mean, this dude has worked in Marvel. He's clearly a comic book fan because the stuff that he brings up in Peacemaker and his Suicide Squad movie, like there's obscure characters and people are like, oh my goodness, I forgot this person even existed. This is great. And like the way he's handled everything since being announced as one of the leads of the DCU, as it is being titled now, has been great. He's even been like very complimentary of the guy that did the original or first Suicide Squad movie. Is it Ayers?
Yeah. Release the Ayers cut.
Yeah. Well, people keep tweeting him that, and Ayers released a statement, and then James Gunn said, like, we're actually friends. We talk about things, and nothing is off the table. But
they're focusing on going forward.
But we're trying to move forward and create a cinematic universe that everyone will enjoy.
Yeah.
And so giving some guidance, and I mean, really, he can't do any worse.
Oh, no.
The past
DC only can go up, baby.
The past couple years had so much turmoil within them. I think Snyder did a great job, and I think that Snyder can have a universe and it would hit home with some diehard comic book fans.
Yeah.
But like, it's not going to be connecting to like everyone, because like you don't tell the extreme stories early on.
Yeah.
And Snyder was trying to make up for where Marvel had already been building, and like we got to instantly catch up. It wasn't a good place to be in. But I think James Gunn and Saffron will do a good job.
Well, James Gunn gets it, because like I think the biggest problem with the old DCEU is that they said, oh, gritty Batman works, so let's make gritty other superhero movies. And nobody wants gritty Superman. That's not what people want.
No.
Nobody wants gritty Flash, gritty Aquaman. It's not appealing.
And I mean, he's announced a couple of big characters that will be in the future for DC. And I think we're going in good places. So I'm thankful for some hope in DC land.
We are in agreement. We are both thankful for Jimmy Gunn. And frankly, it's nice to see someone who was clearly a geek like us growing up, who's got the control now.
Yeah.
Like, I'm really hopeful for DC now. Like, I'm really hopeful that they're going to make some stuff that I really want to see. Side note, what was Tears for Fears' greatest song, and why was it Everyone Wants to Rule the World?
That would be it.
Oh, such a good song.
I mean, they have like 3 or 4 songs that are on my playlist, but that one's number one.
I mean, I listen to that song and something happens and I'm head over heels. And, man.
Makes you want to shout.
Makes you want to shout and shout it out. Let it all out. Okay. Yep. That is what we're thankful for. Make sure and tell us on our socials when we post this pod to that. Comment below when we post it to the Pop Culture Pastor community group. Go join that group. Tell us what you're thankful for in the pop culture world right this second, because it might be different. I've heard some people, we're talking about Quantum Leap. Apparently the TV series Quantum Leap is better than we might have thought.
Since I didn't grow up with Quantum Leap, I didn't have any expectations.
I did, but I heard Scott Bakula wasn't going to be a part of it, and I immediately lost my interest. And now people are saying it's good. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to have to check this out. So I'm hearing, maybe you're thankful for Quantum Leap. Maybe you're thankful for La Brea. I mean, probably not, but maybe. But tell us what you're thankful for, and we'll have discussions about that. Now, we have a special treat for you.
Oh, nice.
Because we've got a young man in my youth group who does music. He's a musician. He's making us a rock outro right now.
Snap.
To the podcast, a pop culture pastor using our jingle. He's making a rock outro. I made him listen to Wayne's World, the rock Wayne's World theme from the movie as inspiration. So he's making us an outro. But while you're waiting for that, we figured we would introduce you to him.
Okay.
By way of a song that he just came out with, and it features one moi. It features me.
Oh, I thought you were going to say it features the artist Toro y Moi.
No, it features me. His band's name is Blood Sweat. I love it. I love the band name, and he and I collaborated with a couple other guys on a cover of Hooked on a Feeling.
Snap.
So we are going to play you a little bit of this is my debut on Spotify. I'm featured. It's look, it's Blood Sweat, Hooked on a Feeling, featuring Dave Rimbolt.
You are somebody now.
I'm so excited about this. So we're going to leave you with the sweet sounds of Blood Sweat's cover to Hooked on a Feeling. If you like it, go check out the full version on Spotify. Just look up Blood Sweat, all one word.
Well, nice.
Don't Google that. Don't Google it. Just go to Spotify and search it. And yeah. So here it is. Hooked on a Feeling. We'll see you next week.
I'm hooked on a feeling. I'm high on believing that you're in love with me. It's as sweet as candy. Its taste is on my mind. Girl, you got me thirsty for another cup of wine. Got a bug from you, girl, but I don't need no cure. I just stay a victim if I can for sure. All the good love when we're all alone. Keep it up, girl. Yeah, you turn me on.